Hello and welcome to second year Baccalaureate English. In this grammar series, we're going to review and practice English grammar for second year Baccalaureate students. And the first lesson is the present simple. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to form simple present and when to use it. And at the end of this lesson, we're going to have a short quiz to see how much you understood from the lesson. So first, take a look at these examples. She lives in London. We get up early every day. They speak English in USA. He does not love to play basketball. Do you go to school? It usually rains every day here. I do not drink coffee. Does he speak Arabic? So all of these verbs are conjugated in present simple. Now let's see how to form the present simple. So in the positive or affirmative form, we form the present simple tense using the base form of the verb, which is the infinitive without to. For example, I do, you speak, we love, they help. So the sentence structure is like this: subject plus verb in the base form. For example, I get up at 7 a.m. every day. But in the third person singular, he, she, and it, we add the letter S to the verb. For example, he helps, she speaks, it rains. And the sentence structure is like this: subject plus verb plus S. For example, she gets up at 7 a.m. every day. Now let's see some other spelling rules for the verbs in the third person singular. So rule number 1, for verbs that end in O, CH, SH, double S, X, or Z, we add ES in the third person. For example, go, goes, catch, catches, wash, washes, kiss, kisses, fix, fixes, buzz, buzzes. Number 2, for verbs that end in a consonant plus verb, we remove the Y and add IES. For example, marry, marries, study, studies, carry, carries, worry, worries. And finally, number 3, for verbs that end in a vowel plus Y, we just add S. We don't do anything. We change nothing. We just add the letter S to the verb in the third person singular. For example, play, plays, enjoy, enjoys, say, says. Now let's see some examples of affirmative sentences. My brother lives in London. I always play basketball. She plays volleyball every day. We get up early every day. They speak English in USA. We love to play basketball. It usually rains every day here. Now let's see the negative form of the present simple. So the sentence structure is subject plus do plus not plus verb in the base form. So do in this case is not a verb. It is used here as an auxiliary. So when the subject is I, you, we, or they, we use don't. For example, I don't speak French. You don't speak French. We don't or they don't speak French. But when the subject is in the third person singular, for example, he, she, or it, the sentence structure is subject plus does plus not plus verb in the base form. For example, he does not speak German. She does not speak German. For negative contractions or short form, so don't is the short form of do not, and doesn't is the short form of does not. So we can say I don't like meat or I do not like meat. She doesn't drink coffee or she does not drink coffee. Now let's see some examples of the negative form. So you don't speak Arabic. John doesn't speak Italian. We don't have time for a rest. It doesn't move. They don't want to go to the party. She doesn't like fish. Finally, the question form, or as we call it, interrogative form. So to make questions in English, we normally use do or does. When the subject is I, you, we, or they, we use do. For example, do you speak English? So the sentence structure is do, which is an auxiliary in this case, plus subject, plus verb in the base form. When the subject is he or she or it, we add does. For example, does he speak French? So the sentence structure is does plus subject plus verb in the base form. We don't say does he speaks French. That's a common mistake. Another thing you have to put in mind is that we don't use do or does in questions that have the verb to be or modal verbs such as can, must, might, should, etc. Now let's see some examples of questions with do and does. Do you need a dictionary? Does Mary need a dictionary? Do we have a meeting now? Does it rain a lot in winter? Do they want to go to the party? Does he like pizza? So now let's move to when to use the simple present. So the simple present is generally used to describe an action that is regular, true, or normal. So number one, we use the present simple to describe repeated or regular actions in the present time. For example, I take the train to the office. The train to Berlin leaves every hour. John sleeps 8 hours every night during the week. Number two, for facts. The President of the United States lives in the White House. So this is a fact. A dog has 4 legs. This is also a fact because the dog has 4 legs. It doesn't have 3 legs and it doesn't have 2 legs. It has 4 legs. That's a fact. That's a scientific truth. We come from Switzerland. So if some people from Switzerland say we come from Switzerland, that's a fact because that is true. Number 3, we use the present simple for habits and routines. For example, I get up early every day. Carol brushes her teeth twice a day. So this is a habit for Carol. She brushes her teeth twice a day. They travel to their country house every weekend. Number 4, for things that are always or generally true. It rains a lot in winter. The Queen of England lives in Buckingham Palace. They speak English at work. Finally, adverbs of frequency. So there are some adverbs that we use with the present simple to describe how frequently we do an action or how frequently an action happens. For example, always, usually, normally or generally, often or frequently, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, hardly ever or rarely, and never. For example, I always go to bed before 11 p.m. I usually have cereal for breakfast. I normally go to the gym. I often surf the internet. I sometimes forget my wife's birthday. I occasionally eat junk food. I seldom read newspapers. I hardly ever drink alcohol. I never swim in the sea. Now we're going to take a short quiz to see how much you understood from the lesson. So, in this quiz you have to put the verbs in brackets into the present simple tense. I usually to school. So what do we do in this case? So in this case we have the subject, which is I. So we use the base form of the verb, which is infinitive without to, which is go. So in this case we say I usually go to school. Number 2, they visit us often. So in this case we have they as a subject, so we should use the base form of the verb, which is visit. So it stays the same, we just remove the brackets and we say they visit us often. Number 3, you not play basketball once a week. So as you can notice, this sentence is in the negative form. So what do we do in the negative form? Subject plus do or does plus not plus verb in the base form. In this case we have the subject you, so we should use do plus not. Okay, so you do not or you don't play basketball once a week. Number 4, Tom work every day. So Tom work every day. In this case we have Tom as a subject and it is also in the third person singular. Okay, so in the present simple we add s to the verb in the third person singular, and in this case we're going to say Tom works every day. He always tell us funny stories. So here again we have the third person singular, so we should add the letter s to the verb and it becomes he always tells us funny stories. She never help me with that. So in this case we have the third person singular, so we add s to the verb. She never helps me with that. Martha and Kevin swim twice a week. So Martha and Kevin swim twice a week. So here we have a subject, which is compound. So if we are to change this subject to replace it with a personal pronoun, so we put they. So Martha and Kevin, or they swim twice a week. So we use the base form of the verb because we have the subject, which is Martha and Kevin, which is the plural, which is in the plural. Okay, so that's why we use the base form of the verb. And finally, people usually dance a lot. So here again we have people, which is a plural, okay, which is an irregular plural, even if it looks like a singular noun, but it is an irregular plural and it is treated as plural. So we don't say people usually dances a lot, we say people usually dance a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will be happy to answer them as soon as possible.